Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Some massive news coming out Thursday morning as the Pac-12 officially going to be adding Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and Colorado State to the Pac-12. For a college football fan on the East Coast, I could not be more fired up. And this is kind of what I grew up on, the Pac-12 after dark. And I'll say this, watching USC and Utah State 11 p.m. Eastern time didn't necessarily cut it for me. I think there's a lot of college football fans are fired up about this news, and I think there's two different conversations that I want to have. One, what do these four programs mean to the Pac-12? But I think more importantly, I think we know the Pac-12 is not done in terms of making additions. What other programs could they look to add to the Pac-12 to make it as strong of a conference as possible? Fired up to get into it. Now, I spent the last 20 minutes kind of cooking, chefing up some ideas in terms of some other programs that I think could bring some juice to this conference. Would love to hear from you guys in the comments section. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys rocking with us. A storyline that we're going to be following relatively closely over the next couple of weeks and months. And, without further ado, let's get into the four programs that are added into the Pac-12. Now they're joining Oregon State and Washington State, who are both off to solid starts, both 2-0 teams. And Washington State, a very impressive win against Texas Tech. The four teams that they're adding, I think Boise State is the one I want to talk about first because I think this program's going in the right direction. You talk about keeping Ashton Genty at Boise State. I think, is going to be in New York City for the Heisman Trophy celebration or presentation. I don't know if he'll win that award, but I think he's going to be a very hot name in terms of that conversation. And you just saw Boise State go on the road to Autzen Stadium and give the Oregon Ducks just about everything they can handle. I think the Pac-12 just added the best group of five school that you see across the country in Boise State. But I think what excites me personally the most about the addition of Boise State is they're going in the right direction. I think they absolutely crushed it with the hire of Spencer Danielson. And now Boise State potentially having a little bit more access to better talent on the defensive side of the football, which has always seemed to kind of hold Boise State back. I think that's a massive storyline for Boise State. So you talk about the Pac-12 adding, teams that could bring top 25 level juice, teams that are going to command a lot of eyeballs. Boise State at the moment is must-watch TV, especially with a guy like Ashton Genty, but they are going to be must-watch TV, at least in my mind, for the next couple of years. So I think that's a massive addition. You look at Fresno State, that's a team that's always been so solid, especially going up against other Power Five programs, right? Week one, they go to the big house. And as a Michigan fan myself, gave Michigan a lot of problems, but historically have been really good. You go back to 2023, beating Purdue, beating Arizona State, Fresno State, the presence in California, I think is absolutely massive. But I think, more importantly, I think that's another team that adds a really strong program on the football side of things into this conference. I think the next team I want to talk about is San Diego State, which I don't think San Diego State's going to be great this year, but I think they made a great hire in Sean Lewis, who won football games at Kent State, which is an extremely hard place to win. I think Sean Lewis is one of those up and coming rising coaches. So you look at Spencer Danielson at Boise State and you look at Sean Lewis at San Diego State. Those are two coaches that I absolutely love and I think are going to do really good things within both Boise State and San Diego State's program. I could see both of those programs having a lot of success over the next 5 to 10 years. And so, and again, the presence in California, I think, is big. And then you go to Colorado State, another coach I like in Jay Norvell, who did some really good things at Nevada, been some growing pains, kind of a rebuild type of last two seasons at Colorado State. I think that's another team that is probably going in the right direction. And so not only do you add, four teams that I think bring a lot of juice immediately to the conference, I think these are four teams that are probably going in the right direction in terms of where they're going as a program. And that's kind of the goal of the Pac-12 is you're trying to pick the programs that are, going in the right direction, that are going to have the opportunity to be premier Power Five programs. And I think they nailed it with those four schools. Now, I think another really exciting conversation is, we know the Pac 12 is not done. So now you got six teams that, again, I think are playing some good football and going in the right direction. This is where I would love to hear from you guys because there are so many different, opinions in terms of what the Pac 12 might look like. I'm going to throw out a few. I think the most obvious is UNLV with Coach Barry Odom. That's a team that's going in the right direction in the state of Nevada. They're recruiting better. There's a lot more juice around the program within the city of Las Vegas. I think Barry Odom's doing a great job. We just saw UNLV absolutely go to work on a Houston team that the next week went to Norman and only lost by 4 points. So you talk about another team that I think is going in the right direction, playing some really good football, potentially commanding a lot of eyeballs. I think UNLV could be a program that under the Pac-12 could have a lot of success. I mean, you are in Las Vegas. I think that could be a place where you can get some talent to that program. Now the question is, so I think UNLV, at least in my opinion, is a no-brainer. And quite frankly, was kind of surprised that they weren't in this initial Mountain West expansion for the Pac-12. Couple other teams that I think are kind of interesting to talk about. Hawaii with Coach Timmy Chang. Again, I know it's been a tough last couple of years. I think they're going in the right direction. Timmy Chang is revolutionizing that offense. I think they'll actually be a pretty damn good team in 2024. They just only lost by 3 to a Big Ten team in UCLA. So Hawaii would make a lot of sense. Now, the two other conversations you might want to have, what about North Dakota State and South Dakota State and potentially some of the Montana schools? I don't hate it. Especially a team like North Dakota State that has showed pretty consistently that they can go up to the group of 5 or even Power 5 level, certainly the FBS level, and play some really competitive football. It is a very rich tradition for some of those Dakota schools in terms of football and what it means to those programs. So I think that could make a lot of sense. And then the other one I was kind of playing around with is, what about going into the state of Texas and having a presence there? And I get like geographically might not make the most sense, but look at how other conferences are operating. They don't give a damn about the geography. If you're the Pac-12 and you're trying to expand in turn, if it's like an arms race, like you're trying to become a conference that is commanding a lot of eyeballs from a lot of different portions of the country. We all know what football means in the state of Texas. You got two teams in UTSA and Texas State that are doing some really good things, that are going in the right direction, that have historically the last couple of years, especially in UTSA's case, been really good football programs that have went toe to toe with some Power 5 programs. So not only are you going into the state of Texas and kind of getting some eyeballs and potentially getting some players to come to that conference from the state, but I also think that those are another two teams that I think are clearly going in the right direction. And so I think the Pac 12, what you're essentially trying to do is, all right, what programs can we add to make this conference as strong as possible? And I think Texas schools would make a lot of sense. San Jose State probably would make a lot of sense too in terms of building that presence on the West Coast. A lot of different directions that the Pac 12 will go to. Again, we'll continue to follow kind of how this plays out, but those are kind of some initial ideas that came to my mind. Would love for you guys to let it fly in the comment section. I know a lot of college football fans in general, at least some of my buddies who've already texted me about this news, they're excited. Again, a lot of us like late night sweats, betting some Pac-12 football. Like those are some of the best memories that the boys have. I think a lot of people are really excited about this. Would love to hear from you guys in the comment section. What does this mean for the Pac-12? What's this mean for college football? Appreciate you guys rocking with it. Does the Pac-12 now get a college football playoff bid going into 20? All questions that we're going to see get answered over the next couple weeks and months. Would love to hear from you guys. Appreciate y'all rocking with it. If you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys, and we'll talk to y'all later.